Good afternoon, my friends. Welcome to my channel. My name's Justin. I play sessions in Nashville, and I also talk about guitar and music in a creative way. And I got involved in YouTube to kind of help everybody out. Like, you don't want to just regurgitate licks. You want to build your own thing, you know? Become more marketable and desirable as someone to play with, or someone who's more knowledgeable walking into musical situations that might make you a little nervous. So I have some courses out that deal with all of that exactly for beginner to intermediate guitar players, and you can check those out at the links in the description. So this guitar, I think I've finally made a decision about it. This is my 55 Tele. I call it the Biscuit because my friend Steve Henson, a steel player in town, he picked it up and he said, "Well, that's lighter than one of Martha White's biscuits." And I thought that was really funny. So it's the Biscuit. The body and the neck are both dated February of 55. So it's an early 55 with some 54 features. It's got a flat pole bridge. I think the domed knobs are 54 features. It has steel saddles, and they're not compensated. So I just put brand new strings on this because what I think I've come to the decision to do, even though I don't want to do it, I haven't wanted to touch anything about this guitar. I didn't want to change the sound at all. I've really started thinking it would be nice if it were just better intonated, you know? You can't just grab a vintage guitar because you think it sounds great and start using it on sessions. Some of them are incapable of intonating well. You know, a lot of old Gibsons, the bridge is too close to the pickup, too close to the neck, the strings are too short, and there's not enough saddle travel to get the string to not be sharp higher up the neck, you know? Like when your fretted note at the 12th fret is sharp of the harmonic, you need to lengthen the string. Well, with Gibsons, like you can turn the saddle around to get maximum travel, but you're gonna run into the end of the travel. And typical Gibson, they didn't fix it by putting the bridge in the exact right place. They fixed it by later incorporating a bigger bridge that had more saddle travel. It would give them more of a margin of error to be able to install the bridge and then, you know, place the saddles to properly intonate the guitar on its way out. That's called the Nashville bridge, you know. And if you look at a Nashville bridge next to an ABR1, they're just different. They're very different. The ABR1 is far narrower. It has a lot less string travel, right? Well, these guitars, Fenders can have intonation issues from, you know, everything's from the nut and the bridge and the frets and like the actual surface of the neck. Like those are your problems. Sometimes you can get single coils too close to the strings and they're kind of pulling and making the string oscillate in a weird way, and that can throw the tuning off. But this has non-compensated steel saddles. So what I've got are these Music City Bridge saddles, and they're steel as well. I want to keep the guitar as close to original as possible, and I do like how bright and twangy it is. So this is what it sounds like. So I turned on the Nordland odr-c, which is my favorite Nobles flavor. I sold all my old Nobles pedals. I cashed out. Anyway, I'm gonna change saddles downstairs in the garage. I'm gonna come back with these same brand new D'Addario NYXLs. They're 10s, just regular old 10s, and we're gonna see how different they sound. Okay, so I want to play some things here with this pedal on. I'm gonna find my favorite setting on the knobs. This is all the way up. generally like just backing them off a little bit. I don't have numbers, I don't have tick marks, it's all by ear, so I'm this is my favorite setting right here. It tames some of the like ultra high end without making it sound like, you know, that's this setting. That's the jazz setting, the full, you know, it's got the old cap. It's the original wiring. That's why I've been hesitant to change anything. The guitar's had a refret, the original tuners are in the case, and it's had a body-only refin or overspray, and I just didn't want to change anything. I thought it was so fantastic as I got it. But I'm getting sick of tuning to the position I'm playing in. You know, it can be in tune down here, but then I go up here. Man, that's just sour. That's just really sour. And I notice when I'm tuning that my, basically my middle 4 strings, the fretted note at the 12th fret is sharp of the harmonic. So I can pull the D and G saddle back and that might be fine. They're not sharp in the same way. They're not the same amount of sharp. So pulling the saddle straight back is, you know, you got to find that right spot. But my outer E strings are pretty much dead on, and then it's everything else that's a little off. So let's go put these on. Let's see how long it takes me. I'm not going to make you suffer through all of it. I've never done this before, but these look pretty self-explanatory. I'm pretty sure I can just loosen my strings, put the new saddles on, get my action and intonation set, and come back up here without changing anything on the guitar or the amp. You know, I've still got that that Nordland. Like, this is a pretty bright guitar. It's really great. Nothing on. A little sour, right? Kind of playing the same thing an octave up. Great guitar. Let's see if we can make it a little better and a little more usable at work. All right, let's go. You can see I got 2 of the saddles swapped out, and basically what I'm doing is removing 1 saddle at a time, and then I'm putting the proper adjustment screws on each side, making sure it's oriented the right way, and then before I put the new saddle in, I'm eyeballing the height of the saddle screws, how high they are off of the actual bridge plate. I just want to eyeball it, get it as close as I can, and I'm putting the saddles back. I did this one at a time so I could have them in roughly a good eyeball, you know, distance from where they need to be relative to the 12th fret, how far back they need to be. So let's take the 3rd one off, and I'm using the old bridge screws and springs. They fit the saddle. They're made to fit with the saddles, or the saddles were made. These new saddles were made to fit with them. So I'm just reusing as much as I can. I want to change as little as possible. So here's my E&A saddle. A lot of people think this is what the Bakersfield sound comes from, is these little steel saddles as opposed to bridge or brass. So you can see bottom here how angled that saddle is. It's not too blurry. Yeah, basically these saddles are very angled because this guitar has a vintage radius, 7 1/4, right? So here's my new saddle. And I'm going to have to shorten both of those screws. The saddle thicknesses are different. So what I need to do, if I'm eyeballing it, I need to eyeball from the top of the saddle to the bottom of the height adjustment screw, not just how much adjustment screw is sticking out of the bottom, right? I've never done this before, but you know what? You can just do things, right? We can just do things, learn along the way, and think about how much better you'll be the next time around. That's kind of my philosophy. I do a lot of things myself. When I give in and hire somebody else, it's either beyond my perceived learning curve, like I don't know if I can make that work, or I just don't have the time. It becomes a cost benefit to me to go ahead and pay somebody to do it. So that looks like I went a little too far on that side. Let's back it off. My only concern with these saddles is that they're so much thicker than the original saddles that I don't know if I can get my E-strings low enough, because there's hardly any adjustment screws sticking out of the original saddles. So with these saddles, it's like you can back the adjustment screws out until they're just not making contact with the bridge plate at all. It's just the saddle, that side of the saddle sitting on the bridge. So we'll see. This might change the action a little bit on the guitar. You know, might be a thing where I have to readjust, reintonate. Yeah, I mean, especially on the E strings. My E strings are going to be higher. They're going to be higher. I don't know if you can see that, but this is the vintage saddle. This is the new one. It's so much thicker. I'm trying to just eyeball lining up the tops of the saddles where the strings will cross over them, and look at my low E string adjustment screw. See how much is sticking out of the top of it? Well, there's nothing sticking out of the bottom, and the saddle is thicker. The compensated saddle is thicker, taller, from the bridge plate up than the screw plus the barrel, the vintage saddle, vintage barrel. So I don't know if this is a different set that's not for 7 1/4 radius guitars, but it's odd to me that these are so thick, that these saddles are so tall. Like, I bottomed out the adjustment, and I mean, we'll see, you know. Maybe it'll take away some of that rattle. You know, I get a lot of buzz. I like a little buzz on a Tele. I like the way that it feels. I think that I don't know. I think it sounds fine and plays really great. But we'll see here. So I'm just gonna put this last saddle back in. Start the screw, and yeah, then we'll intonate, go back upstairs, and see how much the guitar has changed. I can already tell it's going to feel quite a bit different, just because the barrels are just so thick on these guitars. Oh, sorry, on these new saddles. These saddles are on. Let's tune this thing up. I'll take a couple, I'm going to take a screwdriver with me to change things this way. I'm going to take the little saddle screw wrench with me to change height. And we got the same strings on that we had before. So let's see what this thing sounds like. This could be like mind-blowingly amazing, or it could be not really different at all, or I could just completely hate it. Like, that's a possibility too. Oh no, I hate it. What am I going to do? So I've got the old saddles in the order they were on the guitar. They can easily go back on. All right, let's go upstairs. All right, I haven't changed a single thing except the saddles. Same strings, same amp settings, no pedals, a little bit of reverb from my deluxe reverb. Man, let me just make sure I'm in tune. That was already a little bit better. Wasn't perfect, but it was already not as sour and funky. A little bit of Nordland. Still settling in the tuning department. What was that thing that I was playing at the end beforehand? It was something like a... I already feel like it's more balanced, string to string, you know? Something about having these high E strings follow the exact curvature of the fretboard on a flat pole bridge makes them a little bit louder, you know? So I would notice beforehand, and go back and listen in this video, I would notice that my low E string was louder than the A and the D. And now it's... they're a lot more balanced. It's a lot more even across all those. So how about here? I think it's better. Yeah, I think it's more usable anyway. Stuff sounds more in tune. It's not perfect, but it's better. And I might need to change the action a little bit, but man, I like that it's balanced more left to right. Even if my E strings both have a little bit higher action than they did. You know, when you take, I unwound these so much that they were just falling out of the tuning pegs there. So when you do that and you put them back on, it's like putting a brand new set of strings on again. They have to resettle. And I always try to keep my wraps nice and tight up against the toward the top of the post. My top two strings are under the string tree. feel like it's just a lot cleaner. I think my action's higher, but I did set everything at the 12th fret even to the harmonic. I got pretty much dead on all the way across. That's the beauty of these saddles, is that your 12th fret note doesn't have to be sharp of the harmonic, because it's sharing a perfectly flat saddle with a totally different string with different tension and a different, you know, diameter. So I stepped on the Sean Tubbs tilt as well as having the Nordland on. How's the old Keeley OAXA doing? I got one side set super slow and then the other side set a little faster. Both sides together. Very cool. I wonder if the old slide is a little easier with higher action at the E strings. Let's just see here. Here's just the amp and the Sean Tubbs tilt pedal. Again, I left the volume and tone pots where I had them before, so. Both the Nordland and the Tubbs boost. hard to arpeggiate 7th chords with a slide. But you know, you do that for your ear. The old back of the fingernail harmonic. That's pretty cool. It's like right between the pickups. That's so crazy. Awesome. Well, I'm going to use them for a while and see how they work in the field. Got a few sessions today and tomorrow, so we'll take it around and see how it goes. I'll talk to you soon. Have a good one.